Where are we?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Unfiltered. I'm your host, Chaps McFarlane. Thank you for joining the show on this lovely, beautiful evening here. I have a lovely guest in the studio with me, the one and only Miss Shannan Joe, as I fondly call her, Baby Love. So thank you all for joining the show. Before we get started, I would like to take some time to say a few words with respect to a tragedy that has rocked our province over the last few weeks, and we are still all just reeling from it. I want to tell Nova Scotians and Canadians in general that we are very strong people, we are very resilient, and we are very devoted and committed to the values that have built this great country and this great province. So even in the face of this tragedy that we are dealing with, in the face of a pandemic that is ravaging through the globe, I believe strongly that our resilience is going to shine through, that our devotion to each other and to the values that have built this great province and this great country are going to continue to shine through, that we should all embody love, dedication to each other, gratitude, and also that we wish the families of all those who have been impacted by this great tragedy the very best, and we wish them to take some solace in the fact that the whole country, the whole province is standing up with them, and we are sending them our love. We are their strength in this time of weakness, and we are going to remain resilient, and we are going to come out strong. This is Nova Scotia. We are resilient people, and we are going to come out strong. So I just wanted to say that at the outset so that we all take solace in each other and comfort in each other. Ladies and gentlemen, let us get to our show. As you know, this is Unfiltered. I'm your host, Chaps McFarlane. We are here today for an anniversary special, and I want to let all of you know that the views and the materials produced on this show do not reflect the views of any of my employers, past or present, or the employers of my lovely wife, past or present. These are our views only as individuals and of the show Unfiltered. Thank you for that. You know what to do. Participate, join the conversation, leave comments, leave your questions in the comment section. We are going to look at them and try as much as possible to respond to as many as they are. We enjoy seeing your comments at the very end of the show. Support our show, start a watch party if you can, like, share the video, and we are excited, not just because this is our anniversary weekend. In fact, our anniversary is on Tuesday, the 28th, but we are celebrating this weekend with all of you. We are excited. We're going to have a great show. We're going to have a great conversation. And this beautiful, smart lady is going to wow you with some of her smartness. So that being said, we are going to get right into it. So, Baby Love, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, although you've been trying to have me on the show since before it started. And I had the wise idea of saying, oh, let's do it in April, our anniversary month, thinking it's months away, but here we are. It's a half-hour anniversary special. I'm making that designation because I'm not behind the scenes today to be sending Marc texts telling him to wrap it up, because as we can see, we know Marc likes to talk. So here I am, and I'm happy to be here on our anniversary weekend.
Well, thank you for taking the time to be here, because as we know, you have multiple full-time jobs. One of them includes, being full-time mama and, taking care of the business at our home. So it is really great that we could do this together. I'm really excited, and I hope our viewers enjoy what we are going to be talking about. So, fellow viewers, I have prepared something very special. It is a surprise for Baby Love. At the very end of the show, I will reveal that surprise. So stay tuned, and so stay tuned, and it should be incredible if I can summon all of my talents to be able to do it. All right, so we're going to get right into it. As I said, if you have some questions or comments for us, leave them in the comment section. We'll be looking at that, and we'll be responding accordingly. To kick off the show, I wanted to say this out because this is something that has been talked a lot in several forums or on air or whatever about the whole outcome of quarantine. So people have been saying that at the very end of this quarantine period, Canada might experience a baby boom because of all the babies that might be conceived during this time while we are on lockdown. But I was thinking about it, and I thought, oh, no. There might be a double baby boom, because actually it is going to be 9 months from quarantine when we are going to, in fact, see that second baby boom, because all of the people who are now scheming on Tinder about all the hookups that are going to happen once the lockdown is done, watch out, because 9 months from now, we might be able to see a huge spike in births from those engagements. Babe, what do you want to talk about in terms of these 8 years that have gone by?
Well, I think it's pretty crazy that 8 years have gone by since we got married. It's really interesting. I think it's great. We're stronger and more, excited than ever.
Right.
After 8 years, it's not, we're still going, we're still growing, we're still involved in doing things right now. What was that we were talking about the other night? You used an analogy of a tree.
Right.
In relationships, we were just talking about how the way love grows. And I think we also made the point that I think anything can be connected to trees, because they're just...
they're such a good analogy, trees, but they are very, very good to describe relationships and love, especially because, as we were saying the other night, a tree continuously grows, it sheds leaves, it sheds the bark, branches get dry, they fall off, but there's always a renewal. There's always a growth happening.
But yeah, and I think it's very unique for us as well, because like we talked about the roots of a tree and having all these different branches, and you and I have always had different offshoots of different things. We met, we grew together. Well, we had our times, but we're having our first son, Carson,
right.
And we were kind of growing together. And then from there, it's kind of, you went to school, you were in school when we met, and then you went to school at Dalhousie. And
I'll just jump in and say that when we met, it was almost like the sugar mama situation, because you were working and then I was in school. And then subsequently, you came into school, and then eventually, you got out of school, I got out of school, we both were working, then you went back to school, and I am now the sugar daddy.
No, well, listen, it's my best friend Alexis, who was with me the night that you and I met,
right,
in Calgary, she always makes the joke. She says that, and Alexis, if you're watching, you know exactly what I'm about to say, but that I made an investment and I'm just now starting to reap some of those benefits. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you cashing in on your investment?
But yeah, so anyway, it's just very interesting because we've had all these different experiences in school, and while we were sharing a lot of those experiences, going to school, raising our kids, you know, I got pregnant while I was in my undergrad, and then had Nala also in while still going to school. You were also going to law school at the time, so while we were doing that together, both students and both parents, we still had different experiences and um, different groups of friends, different, you know, education streams, different lifestyles, even at some point, you know. So while we always, and it's kind of the same with our compatibility, we're very much the same in so many ways, but then also very different in a lot of ways.
Right. Right.
And we support those things. Sometimes those things can cause disruptions for us, but sometimes they also just work so lovely together.
Speaking about disruptions for us, talk to our viewers about your experience. You know, many of our viewers who don't know this, we actually got married. I think we had like 4 weddings. We actually got married in Africa, in Cameroon. Talk to them about that experience a little bit, and you know, how that was for you, and the journey that has informed in just our relationship.
Yeah, well, I think it was amazing. It was in 2012 when we went to Africa, and that was only 3 years after we'd met. We were getting to know each other. We felt like we knew each other very well, but I feel like going to where you're from and seeing your hometown, your family. I hadn't got to meet like all of your family yet. I got to meet some of your family in Calgary. It was just a really intense situation. We were there for a short time and we did a lot of stuff. We got married while we were there. There was so much to do. But I mean, Cameroon is absolutely beautiful and all the people were so welcoming, but it was super intense. And then skip to the wedding part. Like we got there, we got to meet people, we got to have some fun. But then it's like a week later, we're getting married and we're doing the traditional African wedding. And I was, I know a lot of Marc's family is watching right now, so they're probably enjoying this and laughing as I reflect. But I was still so young. I had never traveled outside of North America. I mean, I was in the States once, so really not much out of Canada. And so I'm put into this traditional wedding where I'm taking into a room without Marc, without my comfort, and with all of his family. My mom was there and her 2 really good friends, but all the women went in a room, and I had to strip down and get oil rubbed all over my body. These are people that I had just met like a week ago, although some of them, his sisters and his mom, you know, I felt like I knew them very well at this point, but still, it's only been a week since I got to meet them, and then I'm putting on clothes and they're saying go dance into the living room, and you know, I was just very shy and insecure, but this just pushed me right out of my comfort zone. But it was really amazing just to get to that experience and feel, you know, it just added to the connectedness between you and I, and it really, really like formed a bigger base of our relationship, because you get to understand someone when you really see where they come from and meet their family.
Right. And that is important in relationships. It's just little things, you know. We know relationships are not all, you know, blossomy. You know, there is gloom. There are hard times, but as we said, for us, the analogy of the tree is what really helps us think through our relationship, think through our marriage, think through our love, and try to work our way through it, you know, through the hard times and through the fun times, I'd say. And you know what? I can say that we've been doing that pretty good for the last 11 years. Don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah. So do you want to play that game?
Sure.
Well, why don't you check on the comments and see if there's any questions that we can answer. I know one of our viewers, a very good friend, just tried to call. We will take his call in a little bit and see what he has to say. But Are there any questions?
No questions, but thank you everyone. A lot of happy anniversary wishes. So thank
Well,
you very
thank you
much.
everyone for all your wishes, and thank you for tuning in. If you're watching, this is Unfiltered. I'm your host, Chaps McFarlane. This is an anniversary special with my lovely wife here, Miss Shannan Joe. So why don't we get to it? Let's see how
So this
well.
is a game some people may be familiar with, but basically where did we get these suggestions? We just have a few things written on these paper. We're going to open them and see who does it more, or who it more applies to, who's best at it, or who it better applies to, depending on what it is. So we'll just point to each other.
Yeah.
All right. So who is more stubborn?
I think it's okay.
Who is more
disciplinarian? I think we're just going to be pointing at each other throughout this game.
Who's more fun?
Yeah. I think I am.
Carson always calls me a party pooper and
the party pooper,
Debbie Downer, the killer of fun. Spirituality. Who's more spiritual? Pastor Marc.
I think. Or you use the reference Pastor Marc, and we're going to talk about a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Because the other part, when I talked about us having 4 weddings, it's because the other experience is we got married in a church that we actually started. It was a very part of my growing up and my growth in ministry and spirituality and Christianity. So with the under the tutorship of my father in the Lord, Pastor Edward Ikyomu, and a whole host of brothers and sisters in the Lord who have gone on to do great things and have their own ministries. We together started this ministry, and that's where we got married. So it was really profound.
That was a really cool experience as well, just seeing that. Like, I can't remember how many people I told. I probably still tell people, when we were there in Cameroon, like, everyone called him Pastor Marc. Even Marc's mom calls him Pastor Marc, and his sisters, and it's really lovely to see. But it was very, very much connected. He got a little shout out when we were in church on Sunday, but like every Sunday that we were in Cameroon, and he'd always talked about it. But when we were in Calgary, I didn't see a whole lot of that. You were just in a different place. You were young. You were in university, and really just transitioning into the Canadian life, I think.
Right.
So a lot of things were different in the beginning when we met, although like I knew those about you, but they didn't, they weren't completely present at the time. So when we went to Cameroon, it was really cool to see that part really pull out of you. And I think that was really refreshing for you as well, because that was the first time you were home since you originally moved to Canada.
Right.
So I think that was like as much as it was for me, I think it was a whole lot for you, because it was the first time you had gone back. So when we came back to Canada, you were a little bit refreshed in your roots and in your culture and in your spirituality. For sure. Don't you think?
I very much think so. Isn't she so good?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so are there any questions or
no
comments? Okay, so let's keep playing.
So motivator.
Yeah.
You too, though. You've motivated me for everything. You're my biggest motivator for sure.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. So nice of you to think so.
So.
My gosh, you really crumpled these up small.
It's the big hands.
Oh, the cook?
Well,
I like to cook, but you can cook really good.
Well, we just do different kinds of cuisine, right? Like I do a lot of Afro-Canadian cuisine. You do a lot of Canadian cuisine. And over the years, can you talk a little bit about how our cuisining has sort of built also into our love?
Yeah, well, that's just it. It just has. I think that's another thing that like a lot of my appreciation for you just like skyrocketed when we went to Cameroon the year that we got married. Like, it's really incredible if you think about it, because you'd cooked a lot of African food for me. A lot of our friends in Calgary, you guys would always cook every Sunday. Remember, we would have those big parties every Sunday and have some drinks and have some food. But when I had nothing to compare it to. So that was another thing when I got to go home and I would taste the food from Cameroon. I'm like, wow. And you know, your mom's cooking, absolutely amazing. And that's when I was like, oh, you really are a good cook. This tastes the same, you know, really similar.
Well, she taught me, so, you know,
of course,
like mother, like son, eh?
Yeah.
I used to be in the kitchen with my mom cooking, and my dad would say that, what was the terminology used? Because I'd be there blowing the fire, because we used the 3-stone fireside with wood, and I'd be there wanting the food to get ready so quickly. So I'd be blowing the fire, and he'd say, oh, and he'd use something to describe me that might not be appropriate to say it on here just now, but
oh,
I enjoy cooking, and so do you. You cook a lot of good meals. When we started dating, you know, you'd make all these Canadian meals. At first, the taste was always so strange to me because I was so used to my spicy food, but
that's
over the
another
years,
part of our merge too, because I learned what tastes you liked and how to change what I cook to make it more tasty for you, because you know, we've blended. So even a lot of the food I cook, like even traditional Canadian meals, I make them slightly different, with, you know, with a little bit of little spin Maggie on them. And then same for you. And every time we cook, I have to remind Marc multiple times,
watch this.
Don't make it so spicy. The kids are going to eat this. I need to eat this. And Marc's level of spice is just it's not comparable to anything. So
yeah,
I think this will be our last one.
For the games,
yeah.
And then we'll check the questions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think there's any questions. People are just enjoying, I think.
All right.
Empathy.
Who
has the most empathy?
I think you're the empath, right? Like, you're the one who you know, takes it all in and sort of sobers us up, because I'm like out there, head in the sky, and you know.
I give you the checks. I'm like, Marc, that person's not feeling this. Stop trying to.
You're always grounding me in reality, right? Because my optimism and extroverted nature could get the better of me sometimes. So, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in, this is Unfiltered. It's an anniversary special. I'm here with my lovely wife, and we're just talking about relationships, friendships, marriage. And if you have any questions you want to throw at us, put it in the comment section. We are going to try our best.
Caleb was watching and he gave you a call, so maybe he wanted to.
Yes, and a good friend and former landlord, Caleb, was watching, and he just called, and I asked that he call in a short while. So I'm hoping he calls back. It will be lovely to hear from him. But in the meantime, talk about friendship in marriage.
So I think, like, something that, I don't know how you want to go about this, but I think, like, people always say, you know, friendship is the base of relationships. And sometimes they say, like, it's really good to have a friendship first and turn in. That definitely wasn't our case. We met at a bar and that was it. But I was head over heels from the very beginning. And
were you?
Yes. And so our friendship definitely grew, like, in so many different ways, so many different aspects. But, like, I think we share so much with each other. We have fun together. We pick on each other. I think we have really good conversations. I think our friendship grew with our relationship.
Right.
And I don't think it has to be one or the other. It's not like if you don't start as friends, it doesn't mean you can't become friends. We dated and became friends.
Right.
And I think that probably happens a lot of the time as well. But it's important to see your partner as your friend and not just your partner.
Right.
Because, like, we're best friends. We're great friends.
Right.
Like, even if we weren't together, I think we would make really good friends.
Yeah. I think so. And certainly, like you said, that was certainly our experience. Like, I feel like the friendship part of our relationship grew more towards, you know, the middle of it, I'd say. And we discovered new things about each other as per friends, other than, you know, just our relationship as husband and wife, or when we were dating.
And I think another part of that comes from the fact that, like, I was 19 years old when I met you, so I was super young, still learning. I became an adult and this independent person with you. And I think that was important. We both kind of had enough support for one another and love for one another that we could both grow individually, but also together. Because like I didn't have time to grow into a young adult by myself. But like I think we were just fortunate enough to grow individually together, if that makes sense. It's kind of the best way to do it, I think, because I think everyone always needs to grow, and you need your own set of your own place in the world. You need to make your own mark in the world. You need to have your own ideas, but also together. It can't be completely separate, but it also can't be completely together. It has to be separate together.
Talking about making your mark in the world, this lovely lady here is just about finishing her MBA, and she's done all of this while being a full-time mom and wife and everything. So an incredible lady. I feel so lucky and privileged. So just so our audience knows. And definitely we will be having a big party once she graduates at the end of the year from that. So
a big party. Is that for me or for you?
Well, you know,
Marc loves the big parties.
I will plan the party, but it will be for you.
Okay.
I'll try not to enjoy it too much.
You can enjoy it.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of our life, sort of a Cinderella story with a lot of where's the shoes? with a lot of twists and turns, and we just try to make it work. Let's talk about another really interesting part of our growing together that a lot of people in their relationships might be experiencing or have gone through. We actually spend quite a lot of time apart, even in our relationship.
Yeah, we spent 2 big stints apart, really. One of them is just coming to kind of, well, I mean, this time together right now, working from home is bringing us back. But after Carson turned 1, I went back to school, and I went back to school at NSCC in Sydney, right while you were going to Dalhousie.
So I was in Halifax.
So I lived in Cape Breton for 2 years while I finished that diploma, and you were in Halifax. As soon as that was over, I couldn't get there fast enough. It was hard.
She literally couldn't get there fast enough.
Yeah. It was really hard, but it's like a small sacrifice for a long-term gain. We just want to do these things, and that's what is one of the big. We always have an end goal in sight, even though once we always get there, we seem to just like go into something else. But anyway, we just decided to do it again. I've always wanted to get a master's degree, and it just seemed like the right time. Unfortunately, the timing didn't match with the place, and I had to be in Cape Breton to do that degree while Marc's working in Yarmouth. And so right now we are just enjoying this working from home and spending a lot of time together. Yeah, so it's definitely hard. It's definitely a lot of sad times, but there's also lots of happy times whenever you come, and countdowns and small goals in between. I think with anything, the biggest thing is to have, I just love timelines, because you can set small goals in between, look forward to things.
We actually had one of this themes here in the bowl, which was talking about who's the better planner. And talking about somebody who likes to have timelines, I was ready to point at you on that one if we picked it up. Yeah, and also a lot of our friends leaving us comments. One of the comments that was left yesterday on our wall was by Don, you know, and he said, you know, he was there from the very get-go. You remember when we met, I was with, you know, I think there was five of my boys.
Yep.
Yeah, and there was 7 of you girls. What an interesting meeting that was. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. This is Unfiltered. It's an anniversary special. We are celebrating love, marriage, friendship, relationships, and just enjoying each other's company. Honestly, if you have any questions you want to throw at us or any comments, we are happy. to look at them. I want to acknowledge everybody that is come on to join us. I'm just going to try to go through and say it. I see so many people. There is Waka Afo. Thank you, Paolo Dino. There is Waka Afo said he's heckling. That would be something he'll do. It's my colleague, Kalum. Thank you for joining us. Kathleen McCarthy, Melanie Shaw. Thank you for joining us. Lana Rideout. Thank you, Lana, for joining us. Alexis. Hey, salute, Lex Kilo. There's Godfrida Gracious. Thank you. Paolo Dino. Debbie McCarran. Munya Francis. Doctor, thank you for joining us. Chanel, thank you. Adian Shaw. Look, I'm holding out, bro. I'm holding out. See, I tried my best today with the Clippers. Adian, thank you. Macmillan Mocom, thank you, bro. Ashley McNeil, Catherine Ross, we miss you. Hope you guys are well and safe out there in St. John. Kate McCollum, Kathleen McCarthy, Kayla Rose. We thank you all so much. Allison, all the way from Calgary. Edmonton. Thomas Hobley, thank you, bro. Chris Q, great man. We should drink a beer soon once this social distancing ends. Aunt Melanie McLeod, you rock. Thank you very much. Ifo Akede, hey, bro. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, Temenu Asachop Theodore, thank you so much, bro. Kevin Wosu, everybody, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining to celebrate with us. What a great pleasure. And yeah, we are just enjoying this time. And what do you want to talk about again, baby?
I think we're coming to the end of the show. You have a surprise.
Oh, she's reminding me that we are coming to the end of the show. And it's time for my surprise. I think we'll just see if there's any questions or comments. Okay, none. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please tune in next Saturday. Again, we're going to be continuing on with the show. We have a great lineup of incredible guests that will be coming on in the subsequent weeks as we continue. And so we are always happy for your support. We are happy when you leave us comments, when you like and share a video. And now, are you ready?
No.
You're not ready? All right. Guys, let's just let me set this up for a little bit and try to get this ready to go. I'll just do this now. So, ladies and gentlemen, in preparation for today, amongst other things that have been done in the background, I prepared this number for my love here, and I'm going to sing it for many of my friends who know. Back in the day, I used to be part of a boy band a group with my friends, and we used to dance all of the Backstreet Boys songs. We used to perform that for an audience, Westlife, and so some of my favorite lyrics, and I've picked one that I'm going to do, and it's a really special one to me, and I'm going to just sing it. My voice is not the best, but I'll give it my best. All right, here you go. Eyes like the sunrise, like rainfall down my soul. And I wonder why you look at me like that. What you thinking? What's behind? Don't tell me, but I think it's love, love. I'm gonna take this moment, I'll make it last forever. I'm gonna give my heart away and pray we stay together. Cause you're the one good reason. You're the only girl that I need. Cause you're more beautiful than I have ever seen. I'm gonna take this night and make it evergreen. Touch like an angel, like velvet on my skin. And I wonder why you wanna stay the night. What you dreaming? What's in your mind? Don't tell me that this feels like love. I'm gonna take this moment. I'll make it last forever. I'm gonna give my heart away the way we feel together. Cause you're the one good reason. You're the only girl that I need. You're more beautiful than I have ever seen. I'm gonna take this night and make it evergreen. Dun, 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 dun. Make it evergreen. Dun, 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 dun. Make it evergreen.
Well, now that my cheeks hurt from smiling so much, thank you.
You're welcome. I've been practicing this
I know.
quite a bit, but you know, I used to sing karaoke to you, so
Yeah.
we just didn't want to put in the instrumentals. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you. This special has edified our souls and edified our minds, and we are really thankful for all of you. Please be well, stay safe out there, and until next time, adieu.
It's just so funny. I'm just so weak. My cheeks hurt. That was the most awkward thing.
That was so good, babe.
I kept it on time. I was keeping him on time.